As the White House celebrates an international victory with the ceasefire deal in Gaza, the government here at home has been shut down for 2 weeks as of today. And Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, still isn't ready to negotiate. Take a look.
If Democrats keep up their obstruction here today, this is where we're going to be headed. We're barreling toward one of the longest shutdowns in American history unless Democrats drop their partisan demands and pass a clean, no-strings-attached budget to reopen the government and pay our federal workers. We will not allow the American people to be taken hostage over partisan demands.
Okay, Mike. The Democrats' sticking point is keeping health care safe for millions of Americans. Correct. So who exactly is holding who hostage here? And who is going to step up and make a deal? I mean, we know that you can do it. You're touting this deal that you did, and you brought peace. Now, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, Mike?
Well, the Speaker is calling it partisan demands, but the important thing to note is 80% of all ACA premium tax credits went to enrollees in Trump-won states. That's 80%.
For the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah. The Affordable Care Act, yes. So the thing that Democrats are fighting for right now. Yeah. But also 78% of adults say Congress should extend these tax credits, and that's across the boards. 92% Democrats, 82% independents, 59% Republicans, 57% of those 59 align with MAGA. So if it's partisan to the right, and it is about the people here, but I also think we're paying Congress to make a deal. It's not about running to your corners. Anyone that's ever had to get along with someone means you concede something. I don't like that they're at recess right now and they're not sitting around saying, okay, well, we're gonna separate this bill out and here's what it's gonna look like. They're doing nothing.
Well, tell them why they're at recess. Somebody, you know why.
Why don't you tell them?
I don't, because I can't remember the woman's name.
Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No, not her.
No,
the one who's
talking about the one who's
the one who will vote to expose the Epstein files.
Oh, the Arizona.
Yes, the woman in Arizona that
they don't want her to be confirmed.
They don't want to swear her in, although earlier in the year they did swear in 2 Republicans during recess.
Yes.
So it can be done.
During recess. Isn't that funny?
That's so
what
you
it is.
think this is all about the Epstein files?
A lot of it, I think.
It still has to pass the
That
Senate,
could be
though.
the thing that brings the whole thing down.
But it opens up the vote, the transparency of the vote.
Yeah,
They would go on
and puts
record
people on the record.
Yes.
Yeah.
So listen, I remain with the 34% of Americans who think Congress in general deserves blame that the government is shut down. And I worry a little bit about the optics here. So a lot of folks feel like the presidency is too powerful. Donald Trump does kind of appear all-powerful right now. I think a lot of folks feel that way. And in this moment, Congress being shut down, I don't think is giving people a lot of hope that we've got co-equal branches of government. So right now, the White House has found ways to maneuver around Congress during this government shutdown. You've seen Donald Trump in Israel, in Egypt, back in America. You've seen the White House extend WIC benefits by using tariff revenue because those were stopped due to the shutdown. Trump's now directed the Pentagon to pay troops because Congress is not passing this bill that will pay our troops. And he's also directing the Office of Management and Budget to look at ways to pay law enforcement. The only step I see left is for the White House to be like, and by executive order, we're going to extend these Obamacare subsidies. So I would caution Congress, if you guys don't step up and reclaim your power, you've ceded it all to the White House that at least half of you are claiming you want to stop.
That's a good point.
You know, you mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes.
I'm getting worried that she and I agree on stuff now.
Yes, that's why I thought you were talking about her.
No, I mean, she has said that Republican men are weak and they're afraid of strong Republican women.
Yeah, and that
she's got it over here for Mike Johnson. You know that, right?
Yeah.
She didn't get along with him last year, but she thinks that Trump is not weak. He's the only one that's not weak, according to her.
She's also saying that
But she's attacking her own party right now. So you say, you had the question, what's going to happen? I think that somebody like her could take the whole thing down.
Well, also Mike Lawler in New York has come out in favor of extending the Obamacare subsidies for 1 year, which is different than the Democrats' demand. But there is a bit of a bipartisan push to
Americans want it. Everyone wants, the subsidies to continue. They want the Affordable Care Act to continue. And the reason I think that Mike Johnson is not holding session is because Donald Trump wants to screw up Obama's legacy. This is all about Donald Trump being the small, petty man that he is, and he doesn't want Obama to have that legacy. But what I will say is I think what will change things is when Americans will really start feeling this shutdown, because at this point, you know, as you mentioned, there are all these workarounds being done, but the most at-risk Americans are going to suffer from these layoffs. School children, low-income families, homeless, unhoused people, and senior citizens. At the CDC, I hope everybody knows, more than half of the dismissals were although they were reversed. Staffers working on measles response and handling an Ebola outbreak were fired. The entire staff of the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report were terminated and then reinstated because that was a huge mistake. But the entire staff of special education and rehabilitative services, including the Office on Special Education, was let go. That means kids with learning disabilities. That means kids that really need special education. They won't have those resources anymore. And when those parents realize that their kids are suffering, I think that's when Americans will really stand up.
I think it's going to happen? The airports.
That's already
Everybody's
happening.
flying. Everybody's flying.
holidays are coming.
People who have a lot of money are flying. People who are middle class are flying. A lot of people are flying. And when they start sitting, when they have to go from Tampa to Miami, and it takes 24 hours, they're not going to be happy.
Yes,
Well, and
yes.
Sunny, to your
Air travel.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, to your point about when people will feel it, it's actually going to be if these subsidies are not
Extended.
because it's going to raise healthcare costs by 114% by those who are enrolled. And they say that the majority of people it will affect don't even realize they're going to be affected.
Yes. And it's about 20 million Americans, I think.
22 million.
22 million Americans.
And what I appreciated, Mike Lawler from New York had said, who's a Republican, that there's a lot of Republicans who still think healthcare premiums are too high under Obamacare. But so long as that is the system in place and nobody is offering some sweeping alternative to make healthcare affordable, then you have to continue to extend these subsidies, even if it's short term for 1 year. But this whole idea that after a million times of trying to repeal it, nothing to replace
Why
it,
don't they
you
work
can just
on
end the
that
subsidy.
instead of just dropping
They
it?
should come back to session.
have to.
They
$147,000
could be
a
working
year.
on it now.
They're
They're
being
being paid.
By the
Go
way,
ahead.
sorry, I
Go ahead.
interrupted, but there's a quote in the Wall Street Journal. Inside the White House, top Trump advisors joke they are ruling Congress with an iron fist. That doesn't sound like winning. It sounds like Congress needs to step up and reclaim its power.
Part of what's happening is this slow rollout of total control.
Yeah.
That's what this is. And it's, to me, when he's talking to other countries and telling them what to do, when he's talking to everybody but us, I have a little bit of a problem with that. I just feel like, listen, I'm glad you did all of that. I'm glad these hostages are home. I'm glad.
Right.
I'm glad you want to now flip back and say, hey, we're going to take care of Ukraine. Okay. But you need to take care. That's like, oh,
Yeah.
But you need to get your behind in gear here.
And stop making
Because
trouble
they-
in Chicago and
well,
places like that.
you know what? If you are the president of the United States, act like the president of the United States. I appreciate all the stuff you're doing. But this is not. But I feel like he wants to be king of the world. This is my
No,
opinion.
he likes the Republicans. He'll help Republican states.
I don't know
it's
if
Democratic
they
states.
only
The
listen.
Republican states are the ones that are going to lose health care.
Yeah,
He hasn't been
that's
he's
why
not invading Republican
that's why
states
Marjorie Taylor Greene
at the moment.
has stepped up and said, listen, these are my people you're affecting here.
Right.
Well, she wants
And
to be
so when-
reelected. Let's not canonize the woman. She
No.
wants to be
She
reelected.
wants to be elected statewide.
Thank you.
Yeah,
She
but
has
you know
bigger
what?
ambitions.
But you know what?
But
You
it's
have to
still right.
give people their props when they do the right
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
When you step up, it doesn't matter as long as you do it.
Yep.
And she has stepped up and said, we're not going about this in the right way. And for me, that's one of the first cracks we've seen
In that block.
in that
Yeah.
block.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see it, because unless people are stepping up for the people who voted for them, what is the point?
She also has, I think we mentioned this the other day, she also has 2 sons who are on Obamacare, and they're getting screwed. So it's personal also.
And it should be. It's personal for a lot of people. But, I'm sure it's personal for some of the folks who are in the party, but they are not going to make that move. I think I have to give her a prop. She made the move. She said, I don't like what's happening, and I'm going to speak it.
Good
And she
for her.
ain't scared. Yeah. We're not probably going to agree on most of anything else.
Joy is starting
but we,
I don't
but we
trust her.
can
That's a
agree.
problem. I
Well,
don't trust her.
trust is one of those things. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't.
Look, she has ulterior motives, but if she gets the job done, good for
Every
her.
one of the politicians in
Yes.
D.C. has ulterior
Yes.
motives.